Just a quick look at the Hedron chart. So what's really interesting is last time I was on the 100% uptime, I think we were just bouncing right off of here. And I had thrown this block in here and I said, hey, this is just an important area to keep an eye on. And the reason why I highlighted this area is this was the area where the Hedron deployer address deployed its liquidity, right? Mm-hmm. It was providing liquidity, given a lot of it is V2, right? Which doesn't have a set range, but some of it was V3. And this range right here it started being implemented right in, whoop. So it first started going in right here. So this is where the first liquidity was placed. So right here, it gave some support here. And then we were kind of off to the races. But then as the sell-off comes, which when any chart goes parabolic, you got to expect a pullback. When that pullback came, it teased it again. It actually came right down into it and just kind of bounced through it. And I thought it was interesting to see that. Now, when I posted this, I wasn't trying to tell everybody, hey, trade this chart, right? Like, I'm an expert at TA. No. I'm just tracking what I find to be what I think is important, right? And whatever happens, happens. And it's just interesting to me. But the way this chart kind of played out, it's fascinating. It is still fascinating. What are we going to see going forward? Are we going to see this? The retest? I mean, that's a classic TA example for you right there. Who knows? You guys have got any comments or questions on the current price action at Hedron?
Go ahead, Graph.
You go ahead, man. I'm thinking about what I've been seeing the last while, and let me come up with something while you guys are talking. While you're talking there, RH.
Well, it's just is this? Did you want to talk about like the reasons why we would be so bullish? For I put out a tweet about this too. Just the HSI auctions, Alex working on the infrastructure type stuff. Polymaximus and how that factors into it. Whether that's good for price or not, that's actually an interesting question. Like what bullish plays would play into this to make it price go up versus maybe price go sideways for a while like everything else?
So there's a lot of buy pressure going on right now. Clearly, the chart is reflecting that, and it has been ever since the first notion of Hedron was dropped in the Hedron chat. That was the bottom. The bottom of the Hedron chart was when Alex talked about Hedron. Like that was the bottom. Ever since then, it's just been more buys than sells, right?
What is Hedron for people not aware?
Oh, Hedron was what he was calling in the chat before he officially called it ICOSA. Okay. So there was a few of us that were talking, just between each other, and we weren't really posting anything official, on any threads or anything. That we were guessing what it could be, and ICOSA was one of them. And mainly because when Hedron came out and he told us where he got the name Hedron, the DAI, I was poking fun of him in the chat talking about Dungeons and Dragons and stuff and all the dies you use with that. And that's one of the DAI is a D20, right? Which is an ICOSA Hedron. So anyways, he was just using Hedron as a kind of a code term for ICOSA before he was officially going to talk about it.
Interesting. Gotcha. Yeah, I didn't catch that at all, actually. I think I was maybe a week or two afterwards, but that's actually cool. I heard he was speaking in code for a little while, so I'm sad I wasn't there to see all that and catch the bottom, but hey, it's still cool that people got to see that and be a part of it.
He is excellent at keeping things close to his chest when he needs to. It's absolutely amazing. There is so many other people in our ecosystem that are eager to talk about what they're working on and talk about what they want to build in the future. When Alex comes out, it's basically built. He's like, hey, I'm launching this new token called ICOSA. I'm ironing out some of the finer details and want to share it with you guys, and so we can have a dialogue. And but it was basically written at that point, Hedron was basically written. There was a last minute adjustment that pushed our launch from January to February, but that was it. He pretty much had the code written at that point too. So right now he's very reclusive. He's working very hard, and I'm sure we're going to see some amazing stuff coming out at some point in the future, right? So
Yeah.
I think it's pretty cool how he's able to keep it hush hush until he's ready to show the world what he's working on.
Yeah, it's gonna be pretty hard too, considering like, you know, I can't imagine a world where you build something like Hedron and Icosa and you're not like, holy shit, holy shit, holy shit, holy shit, holy shit. I'm stoked on this. Like, this is really cool. You know, you're sitting back and you're able to, like, personally, I don't know that I'd be able to do that. You know, it's not like I'd be like parading around telling everyone what I built, but like I'd have a hard time not being excited about it. You know, like just like being as reserved as he is. Like I like to tell myself I have self-control. But
that reminds me, we were on a voice chat with him right after he like kind of laid it out what he was building with Icosa, and like this is all going through his head for months on end, right? As he's building it, and then he just kind of like drops it on us, and we're all in the chat just like you could hear a pin drop. Like we're all just trying to wrap our heads around it. He's like, "What? You guys don't have any questions? Like, you guys are experts on Icosa now?" I was like, "I've got tons of questions. I just don't even know where to start. Like, there's so much game theory you just built. Like, it's gonna take me a minute to digest all of this, you know."
Mm-hmm. And, we're still tearing it apart to figure it out.
To this day, I'm going to show some new stuff today that nobody has talked about before, and I think it's just absolutely fascinating.
Let's
go.
So
I'm so glad you're here too, Graphics. This is fun to have you on as well.
Oh, I feel privileged to be here for this. Hell yeah.
Did you have anything on the Hedron price though?
On the Hedron price, I mean, like I can't see it going. I think, you know, it could go lower. We could see a macro event that happens. People get scared. Something goes down. I mean, you know, I've seen some articles like Toronto Sun posted the other day. I think it was 2 days ago that was saying like this recession is going to be longer and hit harder and all these things. And I mean, like to me, we know how the media works. It's like, okay, you guys are foreshadowing. You know, it's coming. So to what degree that actually happens, or if when it happens, I mean, something along those lines, I think could cause us to be pushed down a little bit, you know, in a panic. But short of that, I mean, we're still in price discovery mode for Hedron. Like, it's still undervalued, and people know that, and people aren't sure necessarily what it's going to take for the sentiment to change to just push it up because the value is low. But then there's also the HSI auctions. There's PolyMax. There's new information like the stream I did today, and the stream that we're about to go over today, where people are learning more and more about the importance of Hedron and Icosa and the relevance to Hex. So, I mean, I can't see a world unless short of a bigger event where there's not a trend upward, even if it's a small upward trend. You know, I can't see that right now.
The only thing I'll say on macro stuff, because I try to stay out of macro stuff, at least publicly. The only thing I will say is I'll just quote good old Buffett there. When people are greedy, be fearful. And when people are fearful, be greedy. Right.
Yes.
And one thing that the media, or just people in general, right? People in general, the one thing they've been really good at is they call recessions after they've happened. They never call them in advance. When we're in a recession, they're talking about the next the next time the S&P 500 hits a new all-time high. When we're on our way up, that's when they're calling recession. That's when they're trying to make everyone fearful. Maybe they're trying to, maybe they just do it. Who knows? But that's when most of the people stop investing and they miss the run-ups. And the people that are paying attention, that's when they're already in or getting it. But that's all I'll say about the macro. When people start talking really fearful about the recession we're about to get in, it makes me very bullish.
Right. That's good points. Really good points.